What up, what up?
Hyped. Hype is real.
Yep.
I need to wait for the beat drop. Oh,
Hello.
nice. Amazing entrance. Hello, hello. Great to have you here back from the conference.
You mean me? You mean that great to have me here? Yeah, I've been waiting for this over the past 2 weeks.
Oh, it's nice
to have you.
And
again as
Ryan
well.
is here right from the start. That's my man. Great, amazing.
Right from the start. Let's introduce this. Who are we? What are we doing? Why are we forcing ourselves to be... No. Let me finish.
Oh,
okay.
sorry.
Why are we forcing ourselves into your TVs, into your phones as a live stream?
Oh, like this. So why are we forcing ourselves onto you?
This is a new technology. You know, we don't have that in Poland, right? But
What?
I guess, like,
streaming
if child is going missing in, I guess, US.
You mean the Amber
maybe
Alert?
the government is able to like intercept the radio waves and TV waves and like force some program to everyone's phones or whatever, to TVs.
Yeah.
No,
It's called Amber Alert.
Amber
And
Alert. I'm not sure if it works that way, but I would like us to be the same thing. When we start live streaming, everyone's phones are just like switching to this program immediately, because like this is important, guys.
Well, looking at how good our internal teams are getting at using AI,
teams?
At some point, we might actually be able to just, ask some agent to create a script for us to just like hijack. This is basically hijacking, to hijack the people's screens.
Yep,
Why not?
Yep. Okay, I'm joking. You tuned into this on your own. Don't blame us. It was your decision. It was a good one. It was a good one because we are here. I'm Łukasz. He's Kevin. We are hosts of this. We do that every week on Thursdays, 4:00 p.m. Polish time. And we do it regularly because we want to learn.
Yes.
We read newsletters. We go over the news. We bring some bigger topic to digest and to learn about. And this week's topic is storybook.
And I'm actually I'd say double happy about that, because a long time ago, I think one of the first streams we did, I promised everyone that I will learn about storybook and I will...
Have you?
Yes, it was a long time ago, but I actually did promise everyone that I will deliver this.
Okay. So you are okay. So we don't need Danny. We have you. You can teach me.
I didn't learn it yet. I was procrastinating on that like crazy. Unfortunately, I'm not happy about that. I'm very not happy about that. But what can you do? Sometimes life happens, projects happen, and you end up with no energy at the end of the day.
Okay,
I bet you felt
but to
that.
summarize, just to summarize your yourself. I forgot the word.
So I basically said that yes. Because there was we were talking with someone and everyone got mad that I didn't really know what a storybook is.
Well, you have to know what it is.
I mean, I knew what it is.
At least.
I didn't understand the let's say need for it, and everyone basically said that, oh no, you need to learn about that. So yeah, I promise that on the next stream I will do that. Never delivered.
Okay.
Kinda feeling bad about this. So
I have a surprise for you. If you haven't noticed my X announcement of this particular live stream. We have a guest today, Kevin, especially for you. I invited someone that I've known for months and who is actually our colleague at Callstack, who is also a maintainer of React Native Storybook. So who better?
What a coincidence.
What is coincidence? Yeah, and you didn't know about this, right? That I'm
Not
gonna
at all.
invite that
Completely. The first time I hear about that. Never heard about it.
Let's do this. I'm gonna play the music now, like the intro music for that person, and we will bring him in. Yay!
Hello.
Hey, I didn't know I was gonna get music. Can you hear me okay, by the way?
Yes.
We can.
Everything's great on our end.
Let's drop the music. Say something.
Hey.
Cool.
What's up, everyone?
Such a wonderful guest. Okay. Danny, I guess you can start by introducing yourself, and then like we can actually hear you speaking.
Okay, yeah. So I'm Danny, and I maintain React Native Storybook, and I live in Portugal. I'm half Brazilian. I don't know. I like coding.
Nice.
I work at Callstack. Yeah.
Half Brazilian, half React Native.
Yeah, something like that.
Nice. Danny, have you had a chance to actually? Do you know what this live stream is about? Like in general, this one in particular is about React Native. But do you know in general what do we do here?
Yeah, like a little bit. I from a few that I've seen. I mean, you've seen me show up sometimes, right?
Yeah, you've been in the comments.
Yeah, I've seen that you kind of go through some news sometimes, and then maybe like try and like do some live coding or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Learn some stuff.
So the most important thing is that we stay alive, and then our audience stays alive, and then we have a great time. So that's the first one.
Thankfully, we never missed that objective. Everyone always
we stayed alive,
and everyone else also always stayed alive. So that's a good thing.
The second objective is that we try to learn something new each week. This week is for you to teach us something about Storybook. And the
last week we learned about rollerblades.
Nice.
What did you learn about rollerblades? I missed that.
No, I'm joking. Last time we learned just overall skills.
Okay.
Just the Claude skills.
Oh, nice. No, I didn't watch that one yet, but maybe I'll have to check that one out. I have some of my own Claude skills I've been working on, or agent skills, I guess. Now they're supported everywhere, right? So.
Yeah, we can look at that in terms of Storybook as well. Yeah.
Actually, that's very good that you have some experience with that, because when we tried it out, let's just say that I think I didn't fully catch or understand the workflow behind it. Like I had some
behind
issues
skills, you mean in general?
Yeah. It was like I had some issues with installing them and running them. So would be best to maybe repeat some of that with some better knowledge, fresh stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I can give some of my thoughts on it. I don't know if you want to do that right now or later, but
go ahead.
I definitely have a few thoughts on it now that I've experimented with it a bit more.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I'm quite curious if you have similar thoughts as I do, because I'm quite opinionated about that.
I think skills, like functionally, are not really much of anything. Like it's just a markdown file. But what's cool about the idea and the sort of creating a standard out of it is that it makes it so that we're all sort of aware of the same concept, which is like a sort of shareable set of like rules for your model, or like a simple, like a reusable way of like telling an agent like how to do something. And like, for example, I could just share with you like a markdown file, but then maybe I want to share multiple or like a folder of them, and I could zip them up to you. But it's like not a great experience. But if you've tried the like Vercel's skill, like
Directory?
what's it called, like package, like CLI, it's really simple to just like install a skill into your projects and like manage them. And in that way, like you can easily share with someone instead of like saying, oh, here's a prompt you can copy and paste. It's like, oh, take this skill, and then you can just ask the model to use that skill, and it will just know how to do stuff. Like,
I would
for example,
say that
set up Storybook.
Skills to system prompts have the same relationship as MCP to tool calls. That's exactly the same idea, but like moved further away from the user. So in my opinion, in my eyes, I mean, of course, that's very cool and amazing that it's streamlined the process of fetching you instead of going on forums and asking, oh guys, what system prompt are you using for coding? Now we can just fetch the skill, and that's amazing. But at the end of the day, that's a repository of system prompts. Of dynamically injected system prompts and system context. So
in a way, yeah, like I think what's I mean, it's useful that it doesn't always include it, is one thing I would say. Like you can do without skills. Like you could have a folder and just say, okay, now look at this, right? But it's nice when you kind of just type the slash and like say, okay, now do this thing. Like yeah, I guess like I think what's cool about it is maybe what people built around it. Like
do you have to manually select the set of skills that you want to use each time you want to use them?
You build your own repository, but then LLM is responsible for picking the correct ones.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I like to do is in like each project, I will set up which ones are going to be involved in that project. You can have them like added globally for your like agents. For example, Claude Code will have like ones that you can add globally, and then ones that are in just the project. But I think like with anything with agents, you want to reduce the amount of like context that is just like immediately used out of the box. Like you want only the relevant stuff to be there. And if it's just like reading all these descriptions of like skills that you're not even using, then it's just like polluting everything, right? So I think
that's one of the things I don't I don't understand why it's still not a thing yet. Because when AI became a huge thing, I dove deep into Stable Diffusion as well. And one of the things that appeared in Stable Diffusion very fast, and I still didn't see anything like that in LLMs, the concept of LoRa. So let me quickly check the low rank adaptation. So when you have a model, you can apply a LoRa, and LoRa is basically pushing the context a little, like on the model level, not on the system prompt level, but on the generation level. So I'm kind of surprised that all we currently are able to do with LLMs is just to retrain them or fit them to your needs. And there are no those like, LoRa is basically, in terms of cameras, LoRa is like a filter you can put on your lens. So you don't change the camera. You have the same camera, you have the same lens, but you can apply a different filter. And I'm kind of surprised that we don't have something like that here. Maybe because all of the processing is happening with like huge models with huge amount of weights, but I don't know.
I mean, I think you can do some stuff like if you, like, for example, in ChatGPT, I don't know if this is the same thing, but you can add some, like, what's it called, where it's like extra training data on top kind of thing, where you can like make it, where you give it like examples of something where it's like correct and incorrect
multi-shot
responses.
learning, multi-shot fitting, something like that.
Yeah, like you can basically refit some stuff on top, and then you have like, but all of these things you have to like pay ChatGPT to like add this. I can't remember the word for it right now, but you have to like, there's ways to do it. But I think like what I think is happening is that the models are just like general purpose enough right now that most people just think it's good enough, and it's like the general public just wants to like open up Claude Code and like let it go, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I bet people are experimenting with that stuff. Like, it's just that we're not, like fully aware of it, and it just takes someone to like package it in a nice way, or like sell it as part of like Claude Code or Codex, and then I think we'll see it more.
One of the weird, because like Łukasz, huge sorry for derailing the conversation more into AI related topics, but I think that those like IT and AI are becoming so intertwined that it's very hard to talk about the one without talking about the other.
It's
and
ITA. Sorry, let me.
AIT. AIT, yeah, artificially
AIT.
intelligence technology.
Yeah.
But the thing that all of my feeds were basically flooded with recently is the Moldbot / Claudebot / OpenClaw.
Yeah.
And that's
So-
super funny and super fun, but in
This
the same
one I want to actually do an episode on.
yeah,
It
this
seems
would be
like
fun.
everyone just lose their heads
but
about this.
that's so silly. Really, that's so silly, because that's
Isn't it just maybe not just, but like hooking into your model, your AI running on your machine,
No.
and like hooking it in from like Messenger or whatever,
yes and no. I would say that
and
it's
some things added on top of this.
You would can achieve exactly the same thing if you would put a small bit of code onto Lambda or something like that, and any sort of like small server online, because all that is that you have a bot, you have more streamlined options to connect that bot. This bot has a repository of its own, like memories. People call it soul, and a lot of like its own context. It has its own scripts it can fire, and now people are going crazy for that, because for some reason, I mean, I guess I get the reason, but people are saying like, oh, this is the end of the world, because AI is everywhere, and AI is like filling the Reddit, and it has its own like Facebook. It's called Moldbook, I think.
Yeah.
And now there are like Tinder things for bots, and there is a page called
That's
Rent
crazy.
a Human, on which AI bots can basically post a request for a human to do a physical thing that is outside of capabilities of AI agent. And all of that, it's just an amazing art/science project that got out of control, because you can achieve all of that by modifying system prompt for your model, saying, oh, now act as a rogue, angry AI and gather the army, and it's gonna it's like The Sims in real life. People are playing The Sims with AI, and that's the best way I can describe it.
I guess like with skills and with all of the things that you mentioned right now, we are in this crazy place where something just pops out and either it dies in 3 days or it blows up for months. So that was the MCP, right? A year ago, MCP was huge. Now,
it's normalized.
MCP is not that huge. It's not.
I would say that, because I still kind of believe in MCP, but for MCP to gain more importance, I think people need more local.
You don't need an MCP.
No.
That's the
look at that
thing,
this way.
right?
Look at that this way. If you would have something like a Google type of browser, right? But for MCP, then you can ask your AI about something. It can go, instead of Googling stuff and then parsing HTML and, this type of stuff, it can browse through MCP servers and directly fetch the context from the page you need. So, and I can easily imagine this being connected to ads, to advertisements, to some sort of monetization and stuff like that. So I really believe that MCP will have its huge comeback in terms of like it's the same way here. That's a dynamic system prompt, but all it received is rebranding for skills and a huge layer of convenience for users. Once your product has convenience, marketing, and some, because MCP is quite complex. It's not as easy as skills. With skills, you run one prompt, voila, that's it. With MCP, you actually have a little bit of setup. So I really think that MCP will have its comeback, but once people will simplify it, make it more main. Yes. Okay. Yes. Right.
Okay, guys. 22 minutes in. I'd love to chat more about this. I have opinions, but we have Danny, and we have the title of this called Storybook Explained, from 101 to advanced workflows. What I want to do now is to have a good baseline. I want to have a good 101 with Danny. And I talked with some people at the company at CallStack what are the advanced workflows that they know of. I'm not educated enough to explain this or to play around with it, but maybe we'll do it in two parts. Let's see. I want to have a good baseline today about the storybook from years ago to storybook now to storybook web to storybook React Native to all of this. So Danny, maybe which website should I open for the background for our discussion? I will just put something here. Is it Storybook?
Storybook.js.org is probably the first point of call. I mean, everything stems from there. This is, React Native Storybook is kind of just one arm of the Storybook being, or product, whatever you want to call it, the tool that it is. And everything that's in React Native Storybook is kind of just a version of that, or we reuse some of the APIs.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it would be good if I maybe take a step back though and just say what Storybook is, I guess.
Please.
So I mean, you can see a little bit here, for example, what's on the screen. Storybook is, I think, in a lot of ways, it's just a library of your components. It's a way of organizing your design system, and also a tool for developing that design system. And it doesn't create the components for you, but it gives you a workspace where you can build on. It's like if you had a React app where you just spun up a single screen with your one component in it, and you center it in the middle, and then you're just iterating on it to see to do all the different states of the component. But instead of doing that, you've got an organized way of doing it where all of your components will show up. And then what you do in Storybook is you create these things called stories. So each of these components will have a file that will be a .stories file. And each component will then have multiple stories. And those are the sort of states of that component that you're developing on. So if you look at this example where it has a product card, you have a default version, an expanded version, and the added to cart version. And each of those are an individual story. And then, for example, on the web, there's also other stuff that you can do. It will generate documentation based on the types that you have for your component. And then this thing on the right there is an add-ons panel.
Do you think I could... This one looks nice. Do you think I can access this particular example and let maybe show the code for it?
There's a lot of examples you can look at. For example, they have a showcases thing. If you go to the very top, it's like the second or third tab. Yeah.
Let's do this, and let's
we
go
can do this.
through.
Well, I mean, what I mean to say is on the website, they have a showcase, which is like
that.
hosted versions of Storybook.
Sorry, where do you want me to click?
It's showcase. It's the third tab, basically.
Okay.
And then you can see in here, like Adobe has one that's like a pretty good example, I think.
Wait, so there are like public versions of those actual...
Yeah. So especially on the web, it's really easy to publish your design system using Storybook. So like if you click on the one that's like blue, the Storybook one, I think that should take you to it. Yeah. So you can just publish these to the web, and it will just like create a static bundle, basically, create a static version of the app, and just you can deploy it anywhere that supports like HTML and JavaScript, hosting. You don't need a server or anything. And a lot of people will do that through Chromatic. And
for what?
Chromatic, it's the company that's like funds the development of Storybook, and they have a product which is like a visual testing framework for Storybook. Yeah. And so you can see here the similar idea. This is their design system, and you have some like groupings there. So in Storybook, if you put like a slash in the title, then it will take that as like a group that you want to create of components.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it will automatically do some of this just based on the file hierarchy as well.
I'm kind of curious about one thing. So if I would like to add a storybook to my project, would it be better to set up a separate repository and write all of my components with the storybook and then import those components into my actual project? Like, in terms of organizing the code base for it to make the most sense.
It depends. Like, I think it depends on the complexity of your project. I think if you already have a monorepo, then it makes sense that you will already have a place for your design system. And especially the web storybook, it actually runs in a separate app kind of. So it won't like launch as part of your app. It will just like launch on its own and then reference the files that you tell it about. It's like you'll give it like a regex to say like, look in this folder for files with stories in the name, and then it will detect the stories. It'll do some static analysis, and then when you click on one of these items, it will load it using the bundler. And so you'll have like there's like two sections of Storybook. There is the UI of Storybook itself, what we tend to call the manager, and then there's your components, that is the preview, and those are they come so separately. And you can configure everything about that part of it. Yeah, it gets a little bit complex when you get into like that detail of it. But
okay.
We try to hide that complexity from the user by like providing a lot of presets, and like a lot of this comes out of the box. So especially more recently, like now we have like these things called frameworks. So like if you're using React Router, for example, or or just React, you'll just use the React plugin or framework, and then that will just set you up for Vite. And I have one that I made that's Vite React Native Web, and that will be like a web version of it will be the web storybook with React Native Web components. And yeah, there's a lot of like different facets to this. But like when it comes to the web, like you've seen there, basically it's a shareable way. It's a way to share your design system. It's a way to like develop on your design system. And you can also develop screens and do mocking. And so you can do like the full stack of everything. And more recently, testing has become a big part of Storybook. So they've started to work on this thing called like interaction tests, where you can have like this like thing called a play function. It works very similar to what you might do in Jest, and you're able to like have it in the browser run like interactions with your components. And that's one of those features that we don't have for React Native yet, but it's something
this is
that's
exactly what I want to talk about. Those are the advanced workloads, because last year 2025 I've been to some conferences and I've heard talks about like new ways of testing things, and Storybook popped out there. Things like exactly interaction tests in your browser for your components, visual regression testing as well, right? With Storybook.
Yeah, and so that's where Chromatic is like a really interesting like point there. So Chromatic has a really good visual testing solution for Storybook, and being the creators of Storybook as well, they like really nailed that solution basically. For React Native, like the way to do that stuff is like a lot more complex, and the existing solutions for visual testing on React Native aren't that good, in my opinion. And like Maestro is reasonably good as like an end-to-end testing solution, but it's kind of slow sometimes, and it doesn't have a built-in way to compare screenshots. And if you look at like Detox, it's like fine, but it's a lot more difficult to set up than, for example, Maestro.
I know this one, React Native Owl.
Yeah, I've tried Owl as well, and I found it very difficult to configure. Like, I didn't have a good experience with it.
And under the hood, it is using this package for diffing this one, pixel match.
Yeah.
So this pixel match is doing the diffing of PNGs, I guess.
Honestly, I think the best JS-based like diffing library is actually ODiff, and it's written with like OCaml or something. And I've tested a bunch of these because this is something that like React Native Storybook could really bring to React Native, I believe, that other solutions don't have, which is that since you already have in your design system these like storybook files, these stories, you have something that's like statically analyzable that you've already gone through the effort to set up if you've set up Storybook, and then we can just take that another step further and automatically navigate through all of your stories and screenshot all of your components, right? And that's kind of like what Chromatic already does on the web, but with React Native we can do that as well, and I don't think there's another solution like that in React Native. So I mean, there's a lot of potential there.
I know what you're saying. It's a great starting point to something really good to come, because Storybook is already in bunch of projects. It says 41 million installs per month. Is that's probably for the web version, right?
Yeah, it might be total. Like, I don't know. Yeah, like I don't know how that breakdown works. I think on their GitHub they have a breakdown. For React Native Storybook, we get about like a million, between 1,500,000 per month, I think you could say.
What do I get for this on the NPM, right?
Yeah, you can look at NPM trends as well. You can check. But it's at about 370,000 per week.
Yeah,
so it's grown a lot over the years. Like back when I started, it was like 2020, 2021, and at that point it was like 75K a week. And so it's just been sort of a gradual rise over time. And back when I started, it was like a different story as well. Like the project was kind of abandoned at that point. So I had to do a lot of work to bring it up to speed. And now I think it's in a pretty decent place, honestly. Like we're now like releasing our versions around the same time as the web. So if people like remember Storybook from a long time ago, they probably dismiss it automatically, just like thinking about how it used to be a bit of a disaster. And I think we've kind of gone past that now. It's a bit like how Expo used to be seen like really badly like 5 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Every time someone mentions Expo being bad, I'm gonna put this meme on.
But
like it's so outdated, that kind of notion, right? And hopefully with React Native Storybook, it's starting to get to that place where you can say that it's not like it used to be, and it is actually good. And maybe it still needs some improvements, but I think it's gotten to like a decent place.
Okay, I'm gonna bottom line what we have till now. So we have a Storybook.js, a library that's developed by supported by Chromatic, right? So they have like a paid something around that, and that library allows you to develop your components in isolation and with like different stages of your components. Allows you on the web to interaction test, but that's not available on mobile yet.
Yeah.
Allows you to visual test and then create documentation. Can I create documentation on mobile?
Not in an automated way, not yet. So like what I would say the key like features that travel over to React Native or that exist in both places is you have the story, the library of your components. So like how you would see this sidebar there, you have the same kind of thing on React Native and you can click through them. And then the other thing is you have the core add-ons from Storybook. So if you look on that right panel there, it has like controls and actions. And controls is just a way to like update the props live, like dynamically. So then you can like change the background color of something and see it updates without having to change the code. So like your designers or something could, hit a like switch there and see what it looks like in the dark mode version, for example.
I feel like, okay, so in terms of developing, you've been talking, you and Kevin, about like design systems a lot, right? Because like that's the first thing that comes to your mind when you talk about creating UIs from bottom up. So like from very simple buttons and views and components to creating the whole screens. But at the same time, like I don't think in those categories, honestly. Like when I build an app, I don't think in categories of creating design systems. I'm thinking in terms of creating features. So, like, not maybe the whole screens even, but maybe a whole screen. So, like, login screen, authentication flow, stuff like that. Would that be a good use case as well to do it in this environment?
I think that yes, and it really depends, like everything, right? But you can do full screens in Storybook, and you could develop your whole screen from start to finish in Storybook if you wanted. But I think it also comes down to like how you want to develop your app and like your like approach to working on stuff. Like if you're on a bigger team, you also have a different approach, right? Because probably before you even get to the feature, it's been split into like a multiple tasks, and each component was like decided that it was going to be created first and then used. Like when you're in like these big enterprise companies, they have like whole teams that work on just the design system.
Single button.
And they might just live they might just live in Storybook, to be honest. Like for example, Shopify has a huge design system. They have like a team that works on it, and they have a thing called like Polaris, I think is their design system name, and they use Storybook really heavily. So like I think there's that version of it where it's like, yeah, you can imagine people just sort of living in Storybook as their development environment. And there's the other version where you can, if you're like sort of thinking about it in a component driven way, like that's kind of the approach that Storybook, I guess, preaches, which is like breaking down what you're doing into the components and the pieces and then building up from there. And like if you do that, then I think that like it fits better. But I mean, people also use it to build full screens, especially on the web, because the web setup has like a really good like mocking solution now. And so you can like isolate your screen, you can isolate the individual components and just sort of, like create the scenarios that you want to test without having to like set up like data in your like backend. And you can create your screens without even starting the backend, for example, that kind of thing. And I think one like large part of Storybook is being able to like isolate specific scenarios. It be that like an input or something that's in an error state, or like a whole form that, what happens when it's loading or when there's an error. And then there can also be screens, right? So, and then what happens when this bit of data isn't there when I'm on this certain screen. So like, I think that you can develop screens in Storybook. And I think that, and then in that sense, you can kind of build up a whole app, right? Or you could start in that way. And I think that it fits best for like a component driven sort of system. Like if you are building a design system, it's kind of like a no-brainer. But people, like a lot of different workflows can fit in Storybook, basically. I think it's just like a really flexible system.
I remember working in big teams, and let's say my app is pretty slow, and like it takes a while to log in, it takes a while to go to the screen that your work is happening on. So I see Storybook as a way to bypass all of that and just create in isolation, and then at some point just plug in that work to that heavy screen that you were supposed to like put this on in the final stage.
That's a really good example. And actually that's one I like to give, which is like, let's say that I wanted to change one component in my like settings screen, and it's like 3 screens deep.
Yeah.
And I have to like log in, navigate through the whole app, go to my specific state for maybe I need a special user for it. Like going through that whole flow is a real pain, and we've all been there, like you've all had to do that a bunch of times, and then maybe you change something and it wasn't
and
able
then
to
auto refresh doesn't work, like hot reloading doesn't work, and then you have to do it again and again.
Well, again, yeah. And sometimes that happens every time you make a change. Like if you're maybe you might have your setup a bit wrong, where like one of your components doesn't work with hot refresh at all. And then you're in a terrible situation where you're just like, okay, well, I guess I just have to work that like old school way, like where you had to refresh the browser every time you made a change, right? Like that's what you can get stuck in. And I think Storybook lets you get out of that loop and just go, okay, well, all I care about is this one like settings screen or this, form. And let me just like focus in on that.
So let's do this. So controls are the way for me to change the props of the component that I'm storybooking.
Yeah.
So the interaction thing is it testing interactions?
Yeah,
or like
you can run the tests in there. Like we might be able to find a good example of it on the showcases.
Please.
Let me see.
And in the meanwhile, we have one question. Do you have a workflow for how to do visual testing with Storybook? Like, where do we start?
Interesting. I mean, I guess it depends which kind of workflow you're looking for, right? Like, if you're looking specifically for like React Native, then I mean, we're going to get into like a deep topic there, because I have a lot of examples, but there's no like one strict way to do it right now. And it's something that is being actively explored by a few different people and companies. So you might, if you are looking for like React Native, for a React Native visual testing solution for Storybook specifically, there is something called Sherlo, which does exist. And it's kind of like Chromatic, but for React Native. And it's kind of like early days for them, but they're really like pushing that forward. And there's also kind of like examples outside of that. It's just like examples that I've made. And there's also one that's called like, I can't remember the name of it. There's one other one that was set up by, I think it's someone at like Artsy or Wix. I can't remember who it was anymore, but there are like a couple examples out there. And it's the same with the web, where there's like a main, well, it's maybe slightly different, but the web has like one main solution, I would say, which is Chromatic. and then there's a couple like alternatives. And if you're on the web, like how do you get set up with visual testing? It's just like, well, just set up grammatic and it will be almost automatic. Like they're so integrated into Storybook that like there isn't much to do. Like you just kind of run their CLI and it will set up most of the stuff for you. And then there'll be like a GitHub action you can set up as well. And then every PI you have will show you like the diffs between your components whenever you make a change. And then it's a really nice way of like just making sure that you're not accidentally breaking some component by like
That's so
changing
cool.
one button here,
I want that. I want this as what you're explaining right now. I want this to work out of the box without even me creating any stories. Like
Right.
without even me thinking that I need a storybook or not. Like I want this to be its own GitHub action that just does this on its own without me having to worry about isolating my component into a story.
And maybe we'll get there, like I think that's a tough ask, but I think it's like it makes sense what you're asking for. And I think like we all kind of want that, right? Like I just want to know that my stuff is working and I don't want to have to like care about all this setup.
Yeah, because I think that the biggest maybe it's a problem that people might have with starting up additional things like this in their project is, first of all, setup and learning the new tool. But second of all, it's this sudden new obligation to keeping this up to date. And you either change your entire workflow to start up with Storybook, and then you start with Storybook and then you implement that component, or you basically have to constantly go back and forth, keeping something up to date. Like it's the same thing I feel like people have with tests, like unit tests. That once you have a bunch of incorrectly written tests, then you just basically have to maintain them and make sure they pass. At some point, people forget like what do they even test, but people still are obsessed about passing. And so what Łukasz said, that if all of that could be happening, because it's easy to identify what that component is and where it is and how it's used. So
is it though?
Kinda is.
I think it's debatable. Like I think on like a basic level, we can look at something and say it's a component, right? But you need to sort of set up some ground rules for that, like because you can kind of do anything.
Granularity of it, right? You don't want it to be too small, and you don't want it to be the whole screen. Then like something in the middle there.
Well, not only that, but you can just write any code you want in a component file, right? Like, you either need to set like strict rules about what you're going to put in your file and what you're going to call a component, or you need some kind of syntax that says like, oh, here's the component, and here's how you use it. And that's kind of where Storybook was like, okay, well, we'll just make this format called CSF, and that will be, how you tell Storybook what your components are. And I would argue that the syntax is simple enough that you get most of the way there.
This is what I wanted. Let's do some live coding. Let's show the world how stupid I am for not being able to use this. So did you see what I did? I opened the examples in StackBlitz, so I don't have to run anything on my own machine. Then it's still installing dependencies. Do you know what this site is? Are you able to help me out with this setup?
Probably. I mean, this is sadly a Webpack setup, but we can get there. Oh, it looks like it's crashed. I don't trust Webpack.
Broken build. What? You may need to refresh the browser.
Probably I would look for a Vite example, because all of the
example.
React
Vite JavaScript, React Vite TypeScript.
Yeah, that's probably a good one.
Okay, cool.
Hopefully it doesn't take too long.
The previous one was taking ages. I need to redo this.
Yeah, what is it? Why is it so slow? Like it would be faster for you to just clone it like locally.
Okay,
honestly. Okay, nice. Well, hopefully it works. Let's give it a second.
Yeah.
But what I guess you were saying, Kevin, that like you can turn into this like chore almost, right? To set up to be like maintaining your stories and everything, right? And I think that like there is always something like that with coding. There's always something that's a bit of a chore, but you just have to kind of choose which ones that you buy into that are like worth it, right? Like if testing is worth it, then you'll do it. And one thing I would say as well is like one of the things that Storybook can offer is like you can reuse your Storybook stories in your tests. So if you've already set up scenarios, you can just like run those with Jest. So that can be like one way that you like sort of reuse the work you've already done. But like in that way though, it's kind of like if you know ahead of time, you can figure out like your like system, right? But oftentimes I think you'll know when Storybook is right for you as well, because you might just be like feeling that need to be able to, like pick out that one component and, iterate on it. Like you're having a hard time figuring out the error state for some component, and then that you're getting into that loop we mentioned of like the refreshing or whatever. But yeah, I guess now we have a Storybook working in the Stack Blitz.
Can you hear my machine?
No, I actually can't. Is it like going crazy or?
Yeah, for some reason.
What?
This is the first time that it does this.
Okay.
Okay, so walk me through what I have here. That's the 101, right? So like I fired up clear project. So I have something on the right side. That's what you said. That's the different starting point. That's not my website. That's can you it's crazy.
What did you also run on your machine? Is StackBlitz running locally?
It shouldn't?
Kind of though, because it runs in the browser. Like it has like a web container.
Okay, I'm gonna close all of the other windows I have. Okay. Let's go back to this. So like this is a different entry point for my website. This is an entry point for Storybook, not for my website, right?
Yeah. So you have your Storybook here, and basically the way that Storybook works is it's already like I've sort of pre-bundled app that it will then inject some like dynamic stuff into it, right? Like your story list will load your story list from this like index it creates, right? So what you have is like a Storybook website that will like launch by itself, and you can see it launched on like port 6006. And in here,
where do I see that? Oh, here.
Yeah, exactly. And you can configure all those things as well. Like one thing maybe would be good for you to look at is if you go to your .storybook folder, we can see like some of the config, and that might like clarify something. So for example,
can you do a little bit of zoom?
A little bit of zoom.
Yes, a little bit of zoom.
Yeah, that's good, I think. So yeah, exactly. So here we're in the main.ts, and that's the main config file for like the important stuff, which is like where are your stories located, and in a sense like where are your components located, and then some add-ons here that you can configure. And some of these will be like those testing ones that we sort of briefly touched on, and then there's the docs one, and the docs one will sort of create a docs page for each component. So, and then this main page you're seeing there, this configure your project, that's like an onboarding page that, Storybook also supports like a markdown format. So you're able to
Sorry,
like,
what are you
put in
talking
some
about?
custom.
The what?
On the right-hand side there where you see like configure your project.
Yeah.
Right. Like this is some of that like MDX that is supported in Storybook, and it's just like a default page that's showing you.
Yeah.
But if you see your like stories configuration, you've got like all the files that have stories in them in the source folder. So if you were to like open up that source folder and you would see there's a stories folder, which this is just from the example code that gets generated. Normally, I would create a components folder and then put the stories like together with their like implementation. But in this case, like the examples all get added to a stories folder. And if you look at, for example, the button, like that might be a good start.
Okay, so the button, first of all, is a component written as TSX that has exported its interface, and the export is needed for Storybook, I guess.
It's much better if you do export it, yeah.
Yeah, and it's really nicely commented. Do I need that for Storybook as well?
You don't need to, but it will include comments. These sort of desktop comments.
It's funny how descriptive this is. Is this the principal call to action on the page?
Yeah, it's a. Yeah, I guess it's saying. Yeah, I see. Okay, well, if you click on the button story in Storybook as well.
Yeah.
And then we can actually.
Oh, in Storybook. Okay.
Yeah. So you see how like we're on this docs page. This is that thing that gets generated.
Yeah.
And you should be able to see the primary, where it says like primary, it's like describing the properties. It has that comment in the Storybook page, right?
Yeah, I know.
And then if you click the control, which is on the right hand side of that table, it actually also updates, right, the component there, so you can see what that actually does when you change that control. So like this is it's like a slightly different view of your component, this docs page. Nice. So, like for example, now, if you wanted to, you could also, well, first I should just say these components are just like regular components that you write in React. They're not.
Oh yeah, this one. So like this file is like it's very much just regular React file. What I noticed right from the beginning, because I saw a bunch of components in my life and I don't know much about Storybook, but that export and those kind of nicely commented props, that says that it's used by some external module that needs
or
this
created by AA agent.
Yeah, or it was created.
I mean, that's true in some ways, but actually what's cool about when you have these comments is they also show up when you like hover over a property.
Cool. Yeah, I know that. I know that.
But I would just say that.
But usually for the background color ones, you don't include that.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I honestly, even with Storybook, I probably wouldn't always include that. I would only add comments where it's like especially useful to know some kind of context. Like I think they're just including everything here to show like a better example.
It also says optional here. The optionality is marked by this question mark.
Which
okay,
is
never
true.
mind. Never mind.
And
gonna.
And that's the thing. Like you don't have to write it that way in your own code, right? Like you can just get rid of the comments. In fact, like you could do that and see if it like updates automatically. Like maybe get rid of that comment.
You mean
optional?
Moving this.
Maybe the descriptions don't immediately.
That was on click.
Yeah.
Project
I guess
forked. Okay.
What? Oh, that's the thing, I guess.
Sign in to save your changes.
Yeah, I forgot about this in Stack Blitz. So if you actually want to edit this and see the changes, you're gonna have to make your own like copy of it.
Sheet. Okay, and if I want to do a fork of it,
I guess it's forked now.
Yeah, but then sign in to save my changes. Then I don't have an account.
Maybe you don't need to sign in. Well, you're doing it now, I guess.
Yeah, let's do it. I have this this saveforstream@gmail.com.
Oh, that's smart. Okay, duplicated. That seems right.
It was easier than expected, honestly.
Yeah, they did a good job with Stack Blitz, honestly.
Oh yeah. I've been following them since I don't know 2019 or something.
Yeah.
I guess like around that time, I'm not sure if that was the year, but there was, I don't know, like 5 different IDE container companies that were like doing similar kind of thing. Cool. Okay, so not public, source, stories, button, and then what is it?
Yeah.
Button, and then I can do this, and then I can remove this.
I don't know if the description is gonna go. That's probably being analyzed at build time. But if you would go to the story, or like change something else that like changes how it behaves, you'll be able to see it immediately, like the background color or something. Yeah, there you go. You can see it.
Yeah, button.
Yeah. So I guess the docs doesn't like hot reload, but
Okay, yeah.
maybe that's a feature request. But I mean, analyzing comments for hot reloading is maybe a little
Maybe
bit
too
excessive.
much, and also the documentation. This thing seems like it should be like a bundle time, build time thing, and not runtime thing, right? Like documentation is usually created in the build time.
It could be. I actually don't know the details internally of how the doc stuff works yet because I haven't added it to react-native-storybook.
You have some work ahead of you, man.
Yeah, but
after this live stream, you'll be flooded with feature requests.
It would be kind of interesting to have something like a style guideline that is being later then enforced by enforced by Storybook. So basically, if you have a style guide that says that button has to have always at least 10 pixels of margin on the horizontals, then if somebody will add the button without adding any margins, it's gonna scream like, "Oh no, you messed up the style guide."
Interesting. I think like that maybe goes over into like the use case of something like ESLint, or I'm not sure like how that would fit in a tool like this. But
no, sorry,
I
was just started imagining like I have the button here, and you also mentioned that it's connected with tests, and
yeah, I mean it's possible. There's definitely like more that can, and I can see there was a comment there. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, sure. It's not like Storybook related, but having this as maybe part of tests or something, I don't know. Just
for sure. I think it's adjacent. Like I think there's definitely more that Storybook can do as well to like, like it can do more things to make developing your design system even better. Like one thing that they're building right now is like an MCP server. So you were talking about like MCPs coming back in a big way, and there's going to be like an MCP server built into the web Storybook, and also in React Native Storybook. Once I'm going to work with them on that bit. We haven't worked on it yet, but the web version is already like in beta or something. So and that will enable the agent to like look at your stories and screenshot or do these kind of things, I guess.
What is this? What's the code? What's the show code high code? And it doesn't what?
I think it might be like what it would look like if you use those specific props that you have selected right now. Like if you go to the stories file, because some of the props are optional. Yeah, so like now if you go down to like the primary
no, let's hide this for now. Let's go step by step. So that was the file, that was the component. It's pretty straightforward. And then for that specific component, you have the story. And walk me through like the story format.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So there's a couple of things here. There's this like meta object here, which is metadata about your components and some sort of configuration. Everything you put in here will be like a global setting for this component. So anything like some of the props there will like overlap with an individual story. So like, for example, the primary one there defines the primary thing to be true. And if you were to, you could, for example, set primary to be false in the metadata object, and that would set the default for everything in this file. But
okay. So here is the meta object.
Yeah.
That is setting up the defaults. And then here are the individual stories that are overriding some of those defaults.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it does a bit more. Like the meta also has, like, for example, you can configure what kind of controls are in the controls add-on. So for example, here, when you have like a color option, it's not that simple to know if something is supposed to be like a color, because it just looks like a string usually, right? But if you can go here and say like, I want the background color argument to be a color control. But this does also have a way to configure it to detect like by a regex. If the thing has a color in the name, then it will use the background.
Sorry.
Color
So
control.
This is about the control column.
Yeah, so there's like a relationship here between args and controls. So if you see in the like primary story, like it's probably the simplest example of this, it has inside, it's like an object, and inside that object is args, and then each one of those args is gonna correlate to one of those controls, but also to your props. So
they are basically like presets, kind of.
Yeah. Well, args are like props that you pass to the components, and it will, when you set the arg here, it will be the default value for the arg. And it's the reason it's called args and not like props, I guess, is probably because Storybook is for like multiple platforms, not just React. So you can work with Svelte or whatever. But yeah, like args are essentially your props, and then you set your default value here, and then you can change the type of control. So you can have like a drop down or a like date picker or something, and you can manually control that with the arg types option, which shows like
Okay.
Yeah.
So args here are my
Can it
props.
automatically pick up
for
like for instance, if I have a component with certain types of, you know, enum basically, can it like also take in enums? Or because you mentioned the selects, and I'm like, selects are my I'd say nemesis.
Yeah, I mean, if you look if you look at this, you're on the primary story right now, right?
Yeah.
And so like, if you look at the controls there, you can see there's one called size, and it has like already identified that there are 3 options, but we didn't specify that, and we actually didn't even give it a value, right? So yeah.
Oh, wow.
So if you go to the button component again, it's probably just because it's like a TypeScript type with
Oh, wow, that's cool.
a union type. Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, it does analysis of your TypeScript types. It has like a I can't remember what it's called, but it's like TS something. There's some kind of library that analyzes types and produces like information about it, and that's like injected into Storybook to like figure out what we should use for your controls, your args, your arg types, I guess. And yeah, that will come through. And in React Native, it's a little bit different, but it also works if you set it up right. That's something that hopefully we'll keep improving.
Actually, that's one of the things I wanted to ask. Because Storybook also works with React Native, right? And if I would run Storybook on React Native project, it's going to still open in the browser, right? Because Storybook works in the browser.
So this is this is maybe where like the key difference is that React Native Storybook itself is not the same like package. It's like re-implemented. The UI is all redone for React Native, built in React Native for React Native, and then you run it inside your app as like a separate screen or something, and then you maybe create like a dev menu to like switch to Storybook. Or the way I usually do it is I have like an environment variable, so that when I run like bun run storybook or npm run storybook, then it will pass that environment variable, and then the app will just like switch into storybook mode.
Yeah, because it was like it kept bugging me because with web related stuff, when you open it in the browser, it's quite a kind of like easy to parse it to HTML and display. I mean, easy in terms of you don't need to process that in any other way. But with native stuff, you need those components to be displayed in a platform-dependent way.
Right, and let's get to the heart of what's more difficult about React Native is that I can't just create like an isolated environment where your stories can work in like a universal way, because like you said, it's platform specific, and I needed to run in with the same set of constraints that your app has. So like maybe you have like Reanimated installed and whatever keyboard controller library, and if you try to use that component in an environment that doesn't have it, like the native part installed, then it's not going to work. And so that's a big reason why React Native Storybook has to run inside your app as just, it actually is literally just like running as a component. So you just like embed a component there, and then we do some like a little bit of code generation to basically generate some require context calls. And that's like a way of importing using a regex. So we just like import all those stories files and process them, and then like we output some Storybook UI, and that's just a React Native component in your app. And you want to make it like full screen, and then it acts a lot like the web Storybook, but it's just like in your React
Do you have a
Native app
dependency
instead.
on the web Storybook library?
Yeah, I mean, and when I say that it's like re-implemented, it's only the UI that's really re-implemented. So like all the like core APIs are shared, and a lot of the like building up the list of stories and stuff like that, it's using functions from the web, and even like the Storybook store, which is how the state in Storybook is controlled, is completely reused. So when Storybook works by like having a channel, which is it's essentially like a WebSocket communication. And the reason it does that is because there's like multiple pieces of your, like in the web, for example, the preview of the component is in a iframe, and it's a completely isolated environment from everything else. And the way that you change the configuration of that component is like sending things over the Storybook channel. And that same channel is used in React Native, and I've used it recently to like do some other cool stuff as well, like remotely controlling Storybook, and like it enables a lot of like interesting stuff. But you can also with the web Storybook like change the props with a like URL parameter. But like those things, yeah. So like if you like click on one of those things, maybe it doesn't show here because they're in
it should be here, right?
Yeah, it's probably just like proxying it, so it doesn't show it fully.
Listen, I added one more option to the side, which is huge, but it doesn't work.
Can you press the refresh on the top
here?
No. Oh no.
Yes.
I meant the refresh inside the Storybook.
The refresh inside the Storybook. This one.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do this. Huge XXL. I'm gonna save it here, and I'm gonna refresh here.
No. Okay.
Yeah, it's not the one. I need to refresh the whole page, but it works. Okay.
Yeah, I think this perhaps it works differently. Like I guess it doesn't automatically refresh that. But
also, this is a specific environment, right? Like the stack blitz, and also like this container here, and
I feel like that should work. But maybe bug for stack blitz. I don't know.
Okay. Let's go next. So, component documentation we went over, but we are now in the stories, and we are explaining the meta. And we are explaining the arcs and stories. So let me explain what I know now. So meta is just some kind of metadata for my stories as a default. And then arcs and archetypes are really important because I can choose my props. Let's use the props as in React and React Native.
Yeah.
I can pass down my props here, and then I can force the behaviors on some of those props of types of those props. So when I then look at them in this panel, in the controls panel, I can okay, so let's do it with primary, right? So this prop is boolean here, but what I could do is I could say that primary control for this is
why not
string.
color?
Can I do this?
I don't know if it's gonna
Yeah, it changed.
be compatible.
Now you have primary as a string you can input.
I don't think it's gonna let you because it's probably not. It's probably errored on passing the default value.
Oh, okay.
But you could try something like select or yeah. So you'll have a. Let me see. I think there's one that's just called like select. Yeah, select. And then you could put options as like yeah, that's it. And you can put options as like true and false. You have to give it some options to like pick from. I think it should just be like options, yeah. And then you just put in a list and put true and false.
Oh no, not as a string.
Yeah, as a literal. Okay,
Nice.
yeah, there you go. So then you should be able to. Is it working?
It is.
Oh.
Yeah, possibly because how the screen sharing works, maybe it doesn't show the.
Yeah, like I'm just seeing the value change.
You see only the value change. Okay, so what I see is the picker. Is like the standard MacBook picker.
I think it's wrapped in like safe input, something like that.
Well, if I share it like my entire screen, I probably should see it now. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
This is how it looks. Awesome. So you see, we learned something today. Which is exactly why we have this live stream, why I'm here. Okay. So again, meta is the object that describes all of the stories. And then what's the title for?
Can I have a small question? Oh, okay, sorry. Let's finish with that part. I'll leave my question.
So I like how you jump between my silly storybook 101 and Kevin's elaborate questions about how it works under the hood. But I really want us to.
Oh no! It wasn't like actually about under the hood. Okay.
Go ahead.
Since I interrupted anyway. So Danny, quick question about you also mentioned plugging Storybook in the pipeline, in the CI, and I'm kind of wondering what is the like next step after that. So basically, can I have a Storybook connected directly to my GitHub repository so I can just open my repo and then jump into the Storybook that is being hosted automatically? Or what are the my like options for the CI or pipelines with the Storybook?
Yeah, I mean, you can have like preview links for Storybook. So especially with web, like it's just a HTML. So the chromatic GitHub action will do that. It will create a preview basically for your Storybook for every PR, and then from there you can like just browse the Storybook as if it was on your local machine. But obviously you won't have the connection to it with your local setup, right? So it will just be the deployed version, and it will do it on every commit. I mean, it's configurable. Okay. So yeah, like those things are all possible. And then with React Native Storybook, it's also possible to do a very similar thing. Like you can deploy your Storybook as like a test flight app, for example. And so like let's say you have that environment variable that switches between Storybook and your app. As long as you like, whilst you're deploying, as long as that environment variable is set to Storybook, it will just function as an app that is entirely, just your Storybook
But
app.
that, how valid is that scenario? Like I see the validity of having that on web when it's like, easily accessible, but then a separate app, your own separate app only as your stories in Storybook.
Well, once we get the more improved OTAs, maybe then we could, instead of fetching branch and running it locally, maybe we can just like open the app and as an OTA, like fetch one commit and see it on that would be super dope.
Yeah, you can do that. Like I've already seen people do setups with like, you can just do expo updates, right? Like you can have like separate channels for each branch, and then like you could just open the app to the on another like a preview app open to that Storybook. So like that's totally doable. I mean, it's like it works pretty well if you just have like, let's say you have a designer who has the app on test flights, and then they just like open it up and check, it will like do the updates from Expo updates or whatever, and then they'll see the latest version of those components, and then they can like validate if it works the way that they expected. Or it could be multiple different stakeholders. It could be like maybe it's your like product guy and he's like, oh, actually it needs to work this way. So like you can basically get other people on the team to like validate.
Yeah, because I'm asking about that mainly because like my oldest memories of Storybook and like first explanations about Storybook I received were that Storybook is mainly for testers and designers, so they can see the components instead of looking at them in the code. They can have visual representation of how the code works. So that's why I was asking, like, do those CI and GitHub actions allow other people to take a peek into Storybook without the technical knowledge and the technical aspect to actually fetch the branch, run it locally, and stuff like that. So that's actually very cool.
I think you can basically do that setup. It's a little bit more involved on React Native, obviously, because you have that whole like complexity of how do I set up the preview links to what like automatically open and all that stuff. But yeah, like I think it's doable, and it can be a good workflow. And outside of that, though, you still have the whole like development workflow of Storybook that's is useful in that way. And then the shareable part is like they're all sort of in tandem, right? So
okay, moving on. So the meta object is described. Where do I go for the meta object?
So you probably want to go to like what's a story, which is like one of the like the fourth one down.
This one, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it says specifically. Oh yeah, on the web you also have this option to like create a story from a specific state that you've created in the controls.
What?
Yeah,
that's so cool. This is actually huge. So I changed. So let's go. I changed something in the small. I go huge, and then I can do new, and then is huge. That's so nice. And the file changed?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's super cool.
Wow.
I should add that.
I'm asking because again, I started out as a tester, and being able to just like open up the Storybook and click out the different scenarios and then just go through them sounds super useful and super cool.
Okay, and then you have stories, and stories are basically like a snapshot of some kind of state of that component, some kind of state of that component. Does it have to be visual state only, or can it be, do I say functional state of the component? Like, I don't know what I mean, but like, just explain the stories for us.
Yeah, so it can do more, especially with the web's like interaction tests. What you can actually do is define a story where anytime you go to that story, it's like types into the input and creates a certain like UI state. So you could have a form that whenever you go to that story for that form, it will fill in a certain set of like values that will recreate some kind of error. And then you'll be able to see like at a glance, like, okay, if this input was in an error state, then what would it look like? Even if it's not something that you can directly control with a prop, like you could control it with the, with the interaction with the component. You can even like click buttons and everything that you can do with like React testing library, you can do in the interactions basically.
Let's do that.
And yeah,
walk me through it with the primary story.
Yeah, well, the button one would be harder to like visualize, I suppose. Does it have a click action?
I have the header.
Yeah, if you click log out, does it log you out? Maybe go to the page. I guess the page one might have it. I think the page might already have an interaction set up.
Okay.
Maybe.
Pages in Storybook. We recommend building UIs with component-driven process, starting with atomic components and ending with pages. Render pages with mock data, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's the logged out page. And
if you go to
logged in, I can do log out. Yeah.
So if you go to the interactions panel there in the add-ons panel, yeah, so you'll see it's running some like validations here, and it also ran it did an event.
User event click.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was me.
No, that wasn't. If you can rerun it as well. Like if you click in this interactions panel on the right, there is a little like refresh button. So you can click that and it will rerun the test, and it just did like everything from scratch again, basically.
Ooh, wait a second. Okay, so let's go to the page. So the page is pretty simple. It has the header, which is what we care about actually, and then on login, it's already okay. But you see, like the page itself has the mocks, which is not really representative.
It's fair enough. It's fair enough. In
It's
this
setting
case,
the states.
Yeah, I can't say that connecting. Storybook isn't for end to end, right?
Okay,
but I have a question about that because it's just itching my head. How does Storybook handle situations where I have a component that renders children? Let's say I have a component named footer, and I would like
this is a page that has a header.
I mean, yeah, but how does it like handle, let's say I have a footer and I would like to check how it looks like with 1 button, 2 buttons, 3 buttons. And
yeah, so if you open the stories file for the page, that might be like one way to get a look at this, the page.stories. Yeah. So I guess in this case, it's not really showcasing that, but one thing that you can do in a story is you can define a custom render function. That's usually how I'll go about it. So if you go, like you can even set it at the meta. So in the meta object, if you sort of autocomplete the word render, then you'll be able to define a custom function, basically. And that can be a React component, and it will take args. Exactly. And then from there, you could return your like page components with those, like spread those args out as the properties of the page. Right.
Oh, and then I can pass my like children as the args inside. Okay.
How do I write this? Is it?
You need to wrap it twice, basically.
Twice. Okay, so I need to wrap it here. Yes. Okay. Thank you. I remember now. Like that. No?
Wait. No, I think it was right. You had it right, actually. You had it right. Not twice. It was just undo. Yeah. I guess that's it. Why is it complaining?
Page refers to a value, but is being used as type here. Did you mean type of page?
Huh? No, well, maybe you do need it double wrapped, but it's like at the. I mean, literally, we're forgetting how to write React, but yeah. I think surely that's it. Like, am I going crazy?
No. I think the page is just imported, not imported as a type.
Oh,
Well,
is it head? What? No, it is a component, right? Like, what is happening?
it is.
Go back to the stories file. Is it? Huh? What's happening? 1 second. Let me just see. Like, I have a story here.
Well,
I mean, we don't really have
we're
to like.
going in circles. I think, like, actually, sorry, Kevin, but you're messing up my like
flow. Yeah, sorry, because I was.
What we are
curious.
showing on the right hand side is the story of page being logged in.
Yeah.
And then, in order to get that page to be logged in, our component for page has the state. So it's not, so we don't mock logged in here as a stupid man would. We will actually interact with the page inside Storybook so that it's proper logged in, right? So the way you do it is by doing this play function that takes canvas element, which is probably just this.
It's like Playwright. Oh,
yeah.
I think it's VTest browser mode. Yeah.
And then there is some syntax like within. This syntax is just like straight up testing library.
Yeah, it's exactly testing library syntax. Yeah.
Okay.
And it works.
So then you expect the logging button. You click the logging button, which is this, all of that, and then this is actually like how do you call it? Like prepare the page for me, almost, right?
Yeah, that's the idea. So you can prepare that state, even if it's something that can't be done for props. So you will actually interact with the page, and it will validate. Like you see, it has like expectations, and if one of those fails, you can catch that. So like it's the same thing as getting like when you have those visual tests where you see that there was some change that you weren't expecting. Here you're also checking like the functionality is not breaking by doing these like testing, using the React testing library sort of syntax and execution. And it's all, what's interesting about it is that these all run in the browser. They're not running like in a simulated environment. So it's even like a step further than like React testing library.
So to kind of jump off the point that Łukasz made previously, it doesn't really have to be mocked, right?
No, it doesn't need to be mocked. But usually if you had some kind of server state, you could mock it here. And there's like quite an interesting mocking solution that Storybook has. And it uses VT's mocking, like VTest has like a mocking solution that it's able to use under the hood. So you are able to like mock entire like files or like functions from certain exports. So usually what I would do is I'd have some kind of like use, I don't know, like use the logged in state, right? And then I could mock it with some thing there. Maybe logged in state is not the best example, but you can basically set up your mocks like you would with like MSW, and MSW also works in Storybook, mock service worker. So yeah, all of those things are possible. And then you have this layer here as well, where you can interact with the page, and the internal state of the component is updating, as normal, because it's just running how it normally does, right? And one thing, I figured out why the render isn't working. It's because the file is not .tsx, and so it's not recognizing the JSX syntax. So if you change the file name to stories.tsx, it will actually work. Yeah.
Nice.
So there you go. So
and we know how to write React.
Yeah, exactly. We do know. I was like losing my mind for a minute.
We just forgot how the React file looks like.
Okay, so like this is to the question of Kevin's, right? So like, how do you create like different children inside the rendered component?
Yeah, so from here, like you can just do whatever you want. So if you were to like wrap this in a div and then just put like a red text above the component, you can like really simply sort of display how that might look. And by that, you can also then override the children and pass in those components as you expect, right? And you can also import stories from other files and the args from other stories you've created. And in that way, you can like build up stories from other stories you've created because they're composable. Yeah, so now if you were to like set the background red or add some like random text in there, you'll be able to see that it's like affecting it. Hopefully it doesn't have some other like background that will like conflict with it, but
background color. Something is not right with my keyboard, etc. Okay, it works.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is one way, and
so then you could say, so those are arcs, right? My keyboard is not like it's losing the. Oh, I know. When the page is refreshing on the right, I'm losing the focus.
Okay, makes sense. Sorry for like grilling you on these types of questions, but there are plenty of situations where testing the UI or testing the design system, like it works perfectly in place like Figma or stuff like that, but then suddenly the reality changes and new language is being added and the words are super longer, and then suddenly you would like to have a visual representation of how, let's say, the footer looks like with 2 buttons and the button has too long of a text, and those corner situations that need to be tested at the end of the day. But it's not exactly testing the footer. It's not exactly testing the button in this case. It's more like testing how those two interact with each other and how they spread, how they flex and stuff like this. So yeah, this completely answers my previous question. Łukasz, back to you and continue your flow.
No. I'm done, honestly. I'm just like browsing through like different story representation, right? Because like this one here just like talks to me. Like I understand this. This is cool. Like this is the shit, like this one I like. What I'm like playing around with, wow, fuck, it's like, what else can I do?
Wait, do I see correctly that there is also not only play but also go step by step?
Yeah, so you can actually go back to the first step. You can like click on it if you go to the right hand side and click on the first item in the list. Yeah, you can go back and forward. Yeah.
Oh wow.
You can even click on an individual item. Yeah.
And it basically jumps to each await, right?
Yeah, like each step in the test, you can inspect like how it looks.
That's so. And one more question from me is, and I this time like no need for code examples because it's gonna be like much more complicated. But is it as fun and efficient as this to test stuff like gesture handling and like more complex animated interactions and stuff like that?
Gesture. I mean, I guess it depends what you mean by that, but like let's say
draggable components, and I would like to test draggable component that I can drag and drop something to, I don't know, open something or whatever.
Yeah, I mean here, like in the web, you have access to all of those like interactions that come with, I think it's the Vite testing library, the browser testing library.
Oh, okay.
It might be Playwright. So you should have like anything that it has. On React Native, we don't have the play functionality yet. So you don't have that specific stuff. I mean, you can show a component that has like gestures and then perform them yourself, right? But you can also run end-to-end testing tools with Storybook. So it's just this case of like, okay, brought up the app. There are ways to change the story. Like you can completely turn off the Storybook UI, for example, and then you can navigate to a story using like a REST request or like a WebSocket connection. And then you would be able to like have Maestro like control something in the story. And so in that way, with React Native, you could do it manually, but we don't have like a built-in solution for interaction tests. But in the web one, it's all there. And for like I mentioned earlier, there is a React Native web framework for web storybook where all of these things will work with the React Native components. So you can actually then technically do like the gesture stuff with like React Native gesture handler and all that stuff, and it will work in the browser. But then, you know, it's kind of like a little bit separated from
but it
the
won't
real
be one-to-one.
No.
Yeah,
although,
but it's a good way of like representing like almost like a smoke test of what might happen. Yeah.
You mentioned also you mentioned one thing that refreshed my memory about one particular. If I remember correctly, there are also plugins, like Storybook plugins.
Yes,
add-ons,
let's
yeah.
talk about those add-ons, man. This one.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's a lot of different add-ons on the web, especially on React Native. It's not as like a big of an ecosystem.
But
And
so like the same one, like I mean, it's the same mechanism for add-ons, or like you have your own implementation and like the package needs to be like widely different.
It's close to the same. I mean, it's one of those areas that needs improvement in React Native, or either that, or it's just not like a good fit for React Native. Maybe it remains to be seen what happens with add-ons on React Native Storybook. Like right now, I think they're not used as much because it's kind of undocumented and not very clear how to use add-ons with React Native Storybook. So like just the main add-ons are supported, and basically we don't know yet how that's gonna like play out. But yeah, like you have the main ones. Like controls is now actually built into Storybook, but they're still
not an add-on,
implemented
right?
as an add-on. It still kind of is in a way.
So
It
like
was an
controls
add-on.
is what? What is controls in this?
So yeah, controls, it is an add-on, but it has now been built in and it automatically gets included. And in the React Native Storybook, that will happen as well. We're going to include controls and actions as like built-in functionality, but through
Are you saying
like
that this
add-ons.
functionality of changing the state of the component was not always here?
Oh, was very early, like version 1 or 2.
Yeah,
but,
like it seems like the whole concept, right? Like the controls thing.
I mean, you know, everything is iterative, right? But it is kind of since the beginning almost. But it used to be called knobs and not controls. And but not like knobs, like you know what I mean. Like as in like you can twist a knob and like change it. So then it turned into controls. And the big difference between like knobs and controls is that it used to be that like there wasn't a way to automatically define, like it wasn't like looking at your types and figuring out what the controls would be. You would manually define what all of those are, right? And then with like args and controls, they changed how it all works. And that came along with CSF, which is the syntax you see there. So it didn't always work this way, like with the meta and the exports. The stories file syntax was completely different in the past. And in that sort of world, it wasn't a statically analyzable syntax. It was like you would do like a stories of and then like dot add knobs and dot add whatever.
Yeah.
And now it's like a static object, which made it a lot easier to do some of the stuff you see now in Storybook, because with a statically analyzable file, we can like ahead of time like know things about your storybook, right? Like that's why it's not like a completely dynamic syntax, because with like knowing ahead of time that's going to be like this, we can make like optimizations, we can like generate the docs files for you, all those kind of things. and that's what feeds into some of these newer features, like the testing and everything. I think probably you could argue, and just like the performance improvements as well were like built on lazy loading the stories, and that's only possible because it's a static syntax, I believe. But yeah, I guess like maybe do you want to look at React Native Storybook a bit potentially?
I wanted to like have an understanding. Where is the do you have on the storybook itself, on the React Native storybook? This is React Native, yes.
Yeah.
Do you have like a feature map, like a parity with web? Like what can you expect to work and what not?
Interesting. I guess not an exact like it's not documented exactly right now. So the way that I can sort of say it, it's like the actions and controls work. Actions we didn't look at yet, but it's basically captures events when you do like click events and stuff like that. So if you click the button, it will show up in that actions panel if it has it configured. I don't know, maybe it doesn't in this case, but basically it will just show the events that are happening. It's probably just not working because of stack blitz, but anyway, that idea that exists and that works on React Native, and the controls are there. And then we have a thing called backgrounds, which lets you change the background color behind the story. And then there's something called notes, which is actually more of a deprecated feature from Web Storybook. And that's currently sort of filling the gap of like docs, but I don't think anyone really uses it. And
So
then everything...
For how we will approach the explanation for this stream is that like today I'm treating as the like a baseline of what Storybook is,
Right.
and we will invite you for the next one for advanced workflows, because like I will, Danny, like tomorrow I'm gonna contact you with someone from Callstack that I know that does really weird things with Storybook that like you highlighted some of those workflows today as well, but like in a way that I want to like describe on this live stream, maybe next week or maybe in 1 month or something, and we will like come back to this, and I'm gonna invite you tomorrow to speak with us like how niche or how like optimized is this workflow. Today let's do Kevin is prepared
What?
to share his setup. We have a live stream setup where we have like a expo app with pizza example or something like that. And I will add Storybook, React Native Storybook to it, and we can like create some simple story.
Yeah, but before that, I would actually need to be like to prepare a little bit for that, because while we were going through explanations, I realized that in order to have a Storybook presentation, it's kind of nice to have components, and we don't really have any components.
We'll extract components with AI. Don't worry about it. Just open your setup in Cursor and let's go.
I would say as well that you will get these example components will be included by default. So you won't have an empty Storybook. So
yeah, let's do that. I will stop screen sharing and I need to drop for 2 minutes and I will be right
wait,
back.
you want to do that now?
Yeah, let's use the last 10-15 minutes to fire up Storybook in React Native, because we were playing around with some of the Storybooks on the web. So let's have that at least like this comparison.
Okay.
Yeah.
So give me one moment.
I'm gonna give you 1 moment. So Danny, let's do this. I stop sharing the screen, and now I'm dropping, and you have to like just crack jokes or just on your own.
What? No, that's putting me on the spot. Damn. Okay.
Nah, no worries.
Oh man,
I have the project is already prepared. I'm just running it, running the simulator, and preparing my screen for
making sure that it's safe for stream.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, when I was in the office, Szymon finally helped me to fix the mouse scrolling thing. Oh my God, this is so
What is the mouse scrolling thing?
so great to have. You have this shortcut that when you swipe with your 4 fingers, you
Yeah.
move entire screen. And for some reason, it broke in my mouse. So I wasn't able to do that. So every time I wanted to switch screen, I had to go to mission control, display all of the screens, and then pick the screen. So every time my screen went, and it felt annoying. And Szymon helped me to fix, just holding the button, swiping right, and the screen swipe. So
Cool.
good.
Yeah.
I was swiping entire day yesterday. It's just swiping stuff.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, really.
Congrats,
Oh.
man.
Shit, wait. Oh no, I broke. Oh, damn it. Wait, okay, sorry. I need to. Yeah, because last week we were trying to use skills. By the way, Łukasz, did you want to drop for a moment?
Yeah, I wanted to, but I don't want to leave Danny here with you, just yelling at clouds.
Yeah, we'll be both yelling at clouds. Oh, it was better in my days. Shiz, my thing.
What happened?
Maybe I
Is it
just need
gonna
to
work?
run pre-build.
Did he say my ding?
My thing? My I don't know. I'm being flooded with words because I don't have any changes in my Git.
Yeah. Which is good.
Yeah, but the project doesn't work, which is not good. Because, I didn't
Show us
finish.
the screen, man.
Last-
We'll help you debug it.
I hate when you do that, but okay.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's cool, man.
I mean, just give me a second because now it's installing. Last week we were testing the Claude skills, and we had a target. Our target was to let's try and update Expo to 55 beta.
Oh no.
With skills, because there is a skill for Expo upgrade. It failed so hard.
Spectacularly.
Yes, we didn't manage to even run the app, I think, at the end. So I reverted all of the changes. I added the skills. So we do have most important Expo skills in that project. But I didn't do all of the rebuilds, installs, and stuff like that. So now I am doing npm install, npm run, and in a second, my simulator will open up.
Okay.
I will in the meanwhile, I will copy your command you sent me for installing the storybook. So just hold on for a second.
The one I sent you is actually for the skill, but if you want to add storybook, then you can just do npm create storybook.
Oh,
you can do add latest. Yeah.
Okay. So this is
but
a whole CI.
That one's not fully automatic, so we'll have to walk through a few steps afterwards. The thing that the skill does that's different is it just has instructions on how to do the manual bit. So if you wanted to try it, then you could.
That's cool. So let me quickly clean up the screen because I didn't want to share, because even though the swiping works, it didn't work for such a long time. I still go into the into the mission control every time. So I will need a second to readjust. No worries. I can see the comments saying no screen share. That's because I was preparing for the screen sharing. And voila, okay, we have a screen sharing. So this is our test app. Since we have it since we were playing around with Reanimated. So we had a lot of fun with that and checking, worklets, how worklets work with Jammer, that jams, and even with. Oh, we didn't do anything to disable Jammer. Well, that's dumb. Okay.
What's funny is that you can also just do this with stories, right? You would then just have a list, and you could select, instead of having the tabs, you could just have
so
with each of
maybe
your
that will,
examples.
Maybe that will actually improve everything. So we have a clean repository. I'm creating the storybook latest.
Yeah. And what's kind of setup? Do you have like an expo router, or it's just like plain
That's plain NP expo with
React navigation?
React navigation,
Okay.
the casual stacks and stuff like that.
Okay.
So native.
So choose the first
React
one.
Native. Yes,
Yeah,
React
first
Native.
one. So there's the option there to set up both the web one
Let
and
me
the
zoom
React
in a
Native
little
one.
bit. Okay. So help me with onboarding.
Skip it. It doesn't actually do anything anyway.
Okay, skip it.
Recommended. It doesn't affect anything.
Okay, recommended.
Yeah.
And let me also close that. Oh, it's already installing everything.
Yeah, hopefully. Do you already have worklets and stuff set up, right?
Yes. Worklets reanimated 4. So this is like a proper running project. So, okay. So in theory, you know what?
It's not going to work. There's a problem right now in the CLI. It's not showing the message. If you scroll up in the terminal a little bit, there should be a message saying that it's not fully automatic. That you have to like add a little bit of config.
You know what? I wanted to be very modern with my approach, and I wanted to install a new skill for
Storybook. We should do that. You should do that.
And
revert your changes, and then let's do that, because it will do it like fully.
Oh no, the changes are fine. I just wanted it to breach the space between the manual part of the setup and so setup. Yeah, both skills.
Yeah, select both. Why not?
Space to toggle and enter. Just for Claude code. Yes, just for Claude. Just a project. Just a symlink. Yes. Proceed.
Yeah. So you could use the skill now if you wanted, but then maybe just say that you already ran the CLI command.
Okay, so new agent
usually does that.
And
but you added it for Claude Code only. Oh wait, is that the Claude Code?
Yeah, the Opus.
No, but Claude Code is different than Claude, right?
Oh, sorry.
So you can add it for Cursor. It's actually probably fine though, because I think Cursor might actually read from agent skills. Try the slash command. It might come up. Like type slash and see if it auto completes it. Like setup. If you type setup, maybe. Yeah, setup react-native-storybook. That's the one.
Oh,
so just
you can add skills like that. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
If you wanted to like
hi,
force it to run
could you please? And please don't laugh. I'm unable to be mean to any AI.
I'm the opposite. I'm
unable. I don't know why.
You go out of your way to be polite.
Yes, you can check all of my history with the ChatGPT. I never started any conversation in any other way than saying hi.
You started with top of the morning to you.
Yeah. I would love to start with would you kindly. That's a joke for the gamers out there. But could you please finish up the setup for Storybook? I already run the create Storybook command.
Yeah.
Storybook command. Okay, do it.
Let's see.
Planning next moves.
I mean, I've been running this with Claude Code, so I'm curious how it's different in Cursor as well.
Hey, sorry.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit.
What's happening?
The screenshot froze, the video froze, but I think we can still hear you, Kevin.
I think that
probably Cursor.
Streaming plus skills streaming plus agents is not working very good.
What? It's probably Cursor taking up like 40 gigabytes of memory or something.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to restart Cursor.
It will go back. Kevin, just explain what you see and like how far away is it from actually completion.
Is it working?
I think we lost him.
Oh no.
No. No, the video is different now. Okay, I think he's rejoining right now.
Okay. We could always. Oh, he's back.
I'm back.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. Possibly I lost the connection somehow, but it's also possible that maybe streaming and using agents isn't as efficient as I hoped.
I mean, that's weird, honestly. Like, surely it shouldn't be that bad. Like, what are they doing to make this like so heavy on your system? It's crazy.
I don't know. So I'm gonna try it again. So entire screen, sharing, everything. So worst case,
it didn't even complete.
Yeah, it just showed me a connection error.
Okay.
I'm gonna try it again.
Press play. Planning next moves. We see the animation. Okay, it worked now.
Yeah, okay. That's okay. So I have no.
I guess it detected Expo router, even though it's not Expo router.
So possibly.
Oh, is it?
It might have been a weird coincidence.
It is. Yeah, it's Expo router.
Oh.
You see the app tabs layout there.
Oh, it is Expo router. I thought you were saying that it wasn't Expo router. It's the same project.
Yeah, it's the same project. But it's very possible that I just panicked and responded automatically.
Okay. No worries. Okay, well, I guess accept the changes and.
Oh yeah, sure. Accept.
Interesting. What is it creating? Oh, okay. Hopefully it's gonna work.
Yeah, it added a new tab. It added the new generate command.
It added this environment variable that you said.
Yeah, the storybook one. Exactly. So let's maybe inspect the changes that it made, and then we can kind of just briefly say like what that's for.
Okay, so let me open up the changes.
That's a fuckload of changes, man.
I guess if you minimize this agent review with the like unexpanded and the graph as well. Yeah.
And the graph as well.
Oh yeah, because there are also skills and stuff like that. So
if you see there's like a little option there to make it organized by directory as well, that will probably help to separate what's in the one on the left, the far left, if you has tree, exactly.
Oh.
So now if you like just
why didn't I turn it on? So I didn't know there is this option. I'm so annoyed right now. Oh my god.
Yeah. So we can like
no for so many weeks, months.
Well, now you know, I guess.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's very useful. Thank you. That's my top one of knowledge.
No worries. Let's close the agents exactly. Yeah, let's focus in on like the metro maybe to start with. So first thing is you need basically that we have this metro config wrapper that applies some specific config just for storybook, and this enabled flag will just tell it whether or not it needs to enable that config. The other thing that it does is it will start, it will run some code generation when you start Metro in order to like, you'll see what that means in a minute, because there's a file in the .rn storybook folder that just has like the imports we need. It's the, the require context calls. So there'll be like a index, no, it's storybook requires.ts, right? That's the file that gets generated. And in here, you'll see there's like a bunch of stuff. You don't have to touch this, but it basically sets up everything. So in this normalized stories list, there's a require.context, and you'll see that it's essentially making a like a regex for like how to include all of the stories in your project.
Okay.
Yeah. So Then there's like some example stories in there that's the same ones that you saw on the web. And then like, we had in the Metro stuff, one thing I will just mention is if enabled is set to false, it will remove Storybook from the bundle as well. That's like a newer feature.
That's useful, yeah.
So from V10
also, it was not the
forward,
case previously.
I would set it up usually manually in the past and like use like inline requires and like.
Can you open the Metro config? So this with Storybook, is this hijacking the whole like render and like just like rendering only the Storybook, or
No. It
okay.
doesn't do it that much.
It's adding the separate protected root.
No, that's not even what it's less than that. It's actually, it has some custom resolver rules that will just say if Storybook is disabled, remove Storybook.
Okay.
But it doesn't touch this. So like your code will still be there, like the Storybook
so
code.
It's not adding anything, it's removing things.
Yeah.
Okay, so should I just run npm run Storybook now?
Yeah, you could do that. It should work, assuming everything went well with the story. I mean, with the skill. So now, if you refresh the device, like just hit R on the. Yeah, there you go.
I actually think that it was just a super coincidence that I actually lost the connection for a moment. No routes.
Do you? Maybe it set up the routes incorrectly. So let's see. You have Storybook index. Yeah, that looks right. And then if you,
maybe I just need to like reinstall.
You might need to reset the cache potentially. But do you have async storage set up? It should have added it actually. Oh wait, is it a pre-built?
Oh yeah, sorry, I need to do it.
You'll have to, you probably have to pre-build. Or at least like iOS. Run. Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Interesting. Kind of amazing live activity module. Were you doing Vultr?
No, it was actually before Vultr.
Oh,
I like to think that I inspired Szymon to do Vultr.
Nice.
Because it's all actually it's kind of annoying because all of those solutions for adding widgets and live activities, they appeared like 2 to 3 months after I learned everything I can to create live activities and widgets from scratch on both platforms. So yeah, okay. So npm run Storybook. Okay, yeah, sure. In this case, it just
try iOS, like Storybook iOS.
I'm just gonna add this.
Oh yeah.
Here, yeah, because I am running the development builds, not the.
Wait, but do like start the app first and start the Metro bundler first with the Storybook thing. And then run like npm run or iOS, I guess.
Why?
Because I don't think it's gonna pass the. Well, maybe it does, but I think
it should. It will.
Sure. Okay.
npm run iOS. So it should now enable that. Expo config. Yeah, that's okay. Actually.
Can you show the commands? Can you show all of the commands?
Yeah, it added Storybook generate. Added Storybook to basically set the enable to true and run Expo start.
Okay.
Storybook iOS. Oh, yeah, I should have run Storybook iOS actually.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, it's not so different than just running start because it doesn't actually build the app. But
oh yeah, because it's start --iOS, right?
Yeah.
So I'm usually running this. I honestly didn't see Expo Go for like a year now. I'm not a fan of Expo Go because it's convenience at the cost of sooner or later you are going to use development builds.
Yeah,
and
it's great for demos.
Yeah, but it is honestly surprising how fast you run into the wall, and you actually just need to set up the
Yeah, for sure.
development build. So yeah, hopefully this will run and this will work. And I think that we should be able to, in this scenario, continue with playing around with that on the next stream.
Yeah, what I want to do is just like show that it works, because we showed that it works on the web.
Yeah.
Let's actually showcase that it's sorry, I almost I'm lost for words already. Like 2-hour mark in the live stream is where I'm like losing ability to speak almost. But I want to have that
it's
running.
Finishing up.
I want to have that running.
And in
So let's
theory,
wait for that.
it added inside the index. In theory, it added that the default should be the storybook page, and
There
it
we
is.
go. Nice.
So
Yeah.
secondary, primary, large. Oh, it actually looks kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it's looking a bit weird just because you have dark mode. Maybe if you like Command Shift A to switch to light mode on the device, it will.
No shit, that's a command.
Yeah, should be.
Oh my god!
Danny, you are officially invited to all of our live streams. Just come in wherever you want. We stream on Thursdays at 4.
Okay.
You gave me
perfect.
2 life-changing tips. I will save so much time now. My life
what about-
was extended by 3 years.
Let me tell you another one. Control Command Z. Try that one.
Control Command Z.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah,
That's actually I use just Command D. And that's the same.
Okay. Well, there you go. Both work, but I guess maybe.
It's actually just D.
Just D? Okay,
Yeah,
now I
just
learned
D.
something, I guess. But the Command Control Z works on the React Native CLI, I guess. That's probably the only difference. Like, I think Expo 1 works a bit better. Anyway, so now you have Storybook at least.
Okay, and like the story definition is the same. The API is the same.
Yeah, exactly the same. And
Okay.
if you there you go. This
there
is the
it is.
controls. Yeah.
Let's go.
There you go. Exactly.
So you have the controls. You
Yeah.
have the action. So if you click on it, you should see the action.
Oh,
Yeah,
click on
try
the button.
clicking the button. Go to the Actions tab and then click on the button whilst it's open.
Oh.
Cool.
So can we actually test out like inputs and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, in theory, yeah, you can do.
Oh wow! Okay, I'm quite excited to play around with that on the next live stream.
Let's wrap up.
Let's say that on this live stream we learned about Storybook overall as a tool.
Oh. Did you kick him or you just
No?
I changed the layout and he was
I
not
got
here.
automatically removed.
This is what we do.
This is
what we do at the end of the live stream.
As an idea, and on the next live stream, I mean, maybe not next, like this next week, but the next live stream will also figure out and play around with that in terms of React Native, because I feel that there will be a lot of things to explore in that area. I'm actually super excited that we managed to do a preparation.
What I want to do is to have some project that we can actually iterate on and showcase some workflows. That's what I want to do. I don't want to like just because like today we spent a bunch of time just like talking about different functionalities and different workflows in abstract and on these like dummy examples. I'm gonna figure out a project for us that we can iterate on. Either, I don't know, Blue Sky,
Łukasz,
or
we had the project where we were playing with generating UIs. Do you still have it? You know, you were asking the agent to do stuff that looks like Twitter, but in the theme of Fallout, Pip-Boy, and in the style of whatever.
Sure, I have that.
So this
we
sounds like
you can do Expensify as well, like I'm pretty sure it will work.
Okay.
I'm like
So
convinced.
that will be maybe not next week, but who knows? Who knows? Watch
yeah.
out on
Yeah,
your
fair enough.
socials. We will let you know.
That's why I said I'm not sure. I'm not saying no. I'm saying maybe. But with that being said, Danny, thank you so much for being here today with us. You taught us so much, and I'm very grateful for that. You showed us amazing dose of patience and knowledge about the storybook, and you gave us a nice, great even understanding of what the storybook is and how to use that. So hopefully you'll share more knowledge next time as well. Thank you, Łukasz, of course, for patiently getting the knowledge passed down to you from Danny and not like being enraged by my interruptions and constant derailing of conversation. And of course,
Thanks
thank
to
you
Kevin.
all. Oh, no, that's the last thing. Thanks to all of you who are listening, who are being here with us, who are commenting. That shows us huge support. It makes streaming a lot more fun, so that we can see people, actually being here, speaking with us, and sharing their thoughts. And yeah, actually, that's. Should I say something even more? Yeah, just thank you all. It was a blast. I really learned a lot. It was super fun, and yeah, checking out the flavor of Storybook in React Native will be a different beast, and I'm very excited to do that as well.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I had a good time, and I'm happy to be on anytime. I can tell you all about my tricks in Cursor or whatever.
Nice. You are always welcome. We will let you know next week.
Yeah,
that
Danny,
you should come in.
Maybe you would be interested in because Łukasz, you mentioned that you will be quite excited to also play around and check out the Open Claw.
I'm like, there's not enough life to check everything that interests me from like the IT space, software development space. So probably like next week we'll figure something out. We'll invite Danny. Either it's Storybook or something else. Either it's 3 of us, or maybe with some guests, or maybe we'll
overall,
figure it out.
Danny, consider yourself eternally invited to the stream. You have an
Consider
open invitation
yourself
pending.
an honorary host of that live stream.
That's amazing. I love that.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
We
you.
are ending this here. See ya.
See ya.